What's up, guys? I am back. Yes, it's been a few days since I post. So, I'm making a video today about Jack Doherty and McKinley broke up, which this was from the past. So, a few days ago, McKinley actually leaked telling her story about how abusive Jack Doherty was, threatening calling her names, even touching her with his hands, threatening to punch her, and all kinds of stuff like that. He even threatened her by text messaging as well. This has been going on for such a long time, for the past 2 years since they were dating. For those of you that don't know who Jack Doherty is, he's actually a YouTuber streamer, which is quite of a jackass sometimes. For McKinley though, she was part with Jack Doherty back in 2023, and she became more famous when she was doing videos with Jack. There are two parts of the podcast footage. First part that came out on the 8th, and then 2 days later the second part would come out. So the first part, at least 2 hours, and then the other one is at least 3.5 hours. So it's time to watch the part 1 and 2 of her story, The Truth of Jack Doherty. He's kind of a loser. By looking at Jack Doherty's face just makes me sick. I just can't even look at him anymore, to be honest.
So I was living part-time in Vegas and LA as well. I was doing work, modeling, and I loved social media because I moved around my entire life. Social media was my avenue of making friends, and I had many friends in LA. One of them being Sam Frank, who is mutual friends, with Jack.
Starting off this point, McKinley explains that would be her first time ever meeting Jack Doherty and his other employees, not knowing how being around with someone who's just completely so abusive with others and just acting out and just using people for money.
People with social media would make money, but I didn't know there was a whole back end of things. But instantly when I shut it down, the whole OnlyFans talk with his employees, I was like, just don't bring that up to me again. Even Sam, my friend at the time, was like, don't even don't ask my friend those questions, because she knew how I was. And she was like, that's actually offensive. Like, don't ask her anything about OnlyFans because she's not doing it. And they didn't ask me anymore, but they were like, well, let me know. Let me know if you want to. Again, at this time, I'm like, absolutely not. I end up going back home, and while I'm home in Vegas, I start getting texts, not from Jack, but the people that worked for him, like his cameraman and the girls especially. They would FaceTime me in the club and be like, you need to be here. Like, I miss you so much. Like, how are you? I miss you. And I remember telling my parents, I was like, these people are so sweet to me. Like, they're so nice. I want to go visit them. It was spring break. I'd never been to Miami. I'd never been to the side. And I was excited because they just kept saying how much fun we would have. And I had never been to a bar or a club in my life. And I was 20 years old. So Jack ends up DMing me because I was telling them basically, I want to really bad, but I don't want to go down there and have to figure out a way to eat or
pay for everything. Yeah. You knew it was going to be expensive.
I knew it was going to be expensive. And I also didn't really know what I was going to be walking into. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to stay. Like, I can't afford a place to stay. So I was asking, Michelle, I was like, the only way I'm staying is if you're there and I'm staying in the same room as you, because I didn't want to go to a random house with random people being there. And I don't know, I was just uncomfortable. When I had texted her that I wanted to stay with her, she sent that to Jack, and then Jack said, the only bed available is mine.
So McKinley did visit at Jack's house. This was not too long after Frank left him. These two, they used to be in a relationship together years ago when they were even, I do want to say they're from New York, by the way. So this was ever since they were in high school.
But at this time, Jack and I were not even on talking terms. We didn't even have each other's phone number. This came out later on. One of his ex-employees that left him, he actually posted it. And I would have never known, like, he said that he was, like, interested in me sharing a bed with him after not even having, like, any conversation.
He's deciding to plan to have McKinley as his new girlfriend. That is just the dumbest shit that I ever heard.
So I said that I couldn't afford to get there. So he ended up DMing me since he didn't have my phone number and I was in contact with the rest of the people in the house. He was like, do you really want to come to Florida? And I was like, I do, but I just, I don't have the money. I don't have, I want to, but I just feel like I can't right now. And then he told me I won't have to worry about anything at all, even like food. So I told my parents I was going to go. They were worried. They really were, because they were like, McKinley, you don't even know these people. Like, and I was like, trust me, like, they're so sweet. They don't try to get me on OnlyFans. Like, they just want me there.
She did believe Jack, and she decided to book a flight for her and go to Florida and visit them.
And I think it was almost a business opportunity, for me to start OnlyFans. And I don't want to think that, but that's not how I felt in that moment. I felt like these people genuinely cared about me. It wasn't that. It was just very confusing. And I was very uncomfortable with certain things that had happened. I don't really want to talk about that. But I was very uncomfortable. Distanced myself until someone got home to the house, because there were no girls there. Jack wasn't even there. They were getting alcohol, I'm pretty sure, because they were planning to go to Rock Bar, which is this club.
McKinley is explaining about her being alone, not uncomfortable. I do believe that, like, being alone, like being around with strangers is kind of, scary. You never know what's going to happen next.
But I locked myself in my room waiting for somebody to come home. I was, just chilling.
Did you text them like, hey, I'm here? Like,
I texted Michelle and said, hey, where are you at? And they ended up coming home not too long after that and just saying, we're going to Rock Bar, like, get ready, like, we're going to the club. And I was like, okay, like, what's Rock Bar? Because I had no idea. I remember telling them, I've never been to a club or a bar in my life, and that was something that all of the guys said was really hot. It was definitely the icebreaker to everything, and what I believe was the icebreaker with Jack and I, because we didn't have any conversations really before that. He was very quiet and, like, to himself. But once we started drinking, and that whole week that I was there, and he was, we were on yachts every day and going to dinners and then going to the club after dinner. And it was this repetitive thing that we kept doing. And every time Jack would drink, he would just, he would kiss me. And then he would say, like, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I know you're my wife because you don't do OnlyFans.
He really thinks this will eventually happen in the future, but it won't. The more things worse, it's going to be a problem for Jack.
He would get so blacked out drunk, like, to the point of, like, not knowing where he is, forgetting everything, passing out. So anyways, I realized at this point, it's time to go home. I need to go home because I had a prior obligation.
Would you say, like, you guys are talking now? Like, after, like, getting drunk, like, you guys would kiss? Would you wake up and be, like flirting with each other?
Not sober. It was the really weird situation. I feel like he was, we would drink every day, but then, he would take me to dinner, but he would be in his phone, kind of like in and out of, the conversations. Now, this one night, Jack and I are obviously very together. Like, we were hugging on each other, all over each other. And I even remember, his name's I remember came up to both of us and was like, you guys are so cute. Like, so he obviously knew. He had a girlfriend that was in New York as well, but he was here for spring break and just to, see Jack. I had And I just remember waking up and hand was in my pants. I was in the middle of him and Jack. And I just felt so violated and scared.
I really want to be honest, this is really sad. And I feel so bad for her because she's just felt very abused by Jack and the other guys too. For 2 years, she's been suffering. 2 years. That's just such a long time.
Like, I had never been through a situation like that ever. And not knowing who it was. But he ends up this one night taking me to dinner. He said that it was a business dinner. We end up going. It's a really nice dinner. It's with a bunch of other people I had never met before, but it was this older guy. And Jack introduced me to him. We start talking a little bit, and he just brings up, so why don't you have an OnlyFans?
OnlyFans? Come on. They can't be serious about this. This is just an actual reason why this older guy tells McKinley to ask if she has an OnlyFans. That is so awkward.
This man, he's like in his 40s.
And you've never met him before?
Never had met him before. That's the first thing you say to me is, why don't you have an OnlyFans? I was like, it's against my morals. That's all I said. I was like, it's just the way I was raised. Like, I that's something not in the cards for me. And I'm firm on that. And he said, fuck your morals.
Did he say F your morals? That is just so disrespectful and very violent. I mean, like having Jack's employees around with her, they're just making fun of her, right? This is just really sad and very disrespectful and very disgusting too.
He realized that. I was very firm on it. I even went so far to tell him, don't do that to me again. Like, that was offensive. Please don't do that to me again. So we go back. The dynamic at this point has changed. Like, I feel very alone. I feel like I should leave because he's, still flirting with me. We're still sleeping in the same bed. He's still like...
Had you guys hooked up here?
No. We didn't hook up or do anything for a year and a half into our relationship.
The point is, why Jack Doherty decide to have McKinley as his girlfriend, even though they still haven't known each other yet? That's just, I don't know. Maybe he just wants to do something special for her. Maybe he wants her as a wife in the future. I mean, that's just so... I mean, that really doesn't make sense to me, but it's just to show how feelings between men and women. McKinley does explain how Jack Doherty was very, very good with her back then when they first met. And even though, like, when Jack does something, they do this and that, McKinley does something, like, she's just being forced by him. Just being forced, telling her what to do and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of not fair at all. I mean, not being able to sleep and just working 24 hours a day, every single day, 24 hours. I mean, it is very tiring for this situation. Job is a job, but we all get tired for this. And Jack Doherty, I mean, he is taking some meds or something like that just to keep him awake.
Anything of it, I was like, well, maybe this will be a good decision. After talking to him, I was explaining how this is not in the cards for me, Jack. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, my parents, like, I can't even imagine what they would think if I did this. And he was like, your parents are going to get over it. Like, they're going to realize how much money you're going to make. And I was like, am I though? Like, I had no idea. I was like, am I going to make money? I don't know. And they were like, you are going to be very well off. They were like, this is going to be the biggest success ever. And Jack was telling me, he was like, you're going to be, my main girl, like, we can post together, we can finally act like boyfriend and girlfriend.
But it's like, how would you expect me to react? I really don't know what to do.
You're reacting over something that I didn't even say or comment.
I'm the only
one here working! I'm the only one here working! Isn't that crazy? Because you're not answering me. Like, are you kidding me? How the are you doing that? Bro, you called the cops on me in my own fucking house after I've done everything for you.
Because you threatened me, Jack.
I didn't threaten you, bro.
But some of the worst things happened to me. Not everything was caught on camera that happened, but a big chunk of things were filmed when I didn't even want them to be filmed. A lot of emotional things happened to me, traumatic events. One of them being he flipped an entire golf cart.
Oh fuck.
There, Logan, his friend, and a bunch of the other people were there, and they looked at me and were like, we need to go to the hospital, like, we'll go with you. And Jack had met me there, and he had a camera, and he was filming me. I was so embarrassed because I'm like, I'm in the hospital, you're filming all of these things. He was like, you're the baddest one in the hospital.
More like of an idiot who has no idea how to treat a girl so respectfully and just being a jackass all day, every day.
And I got a last minute wedding dress. I tried on wedding dresses, and, you know, he was making jokes and saying like, oh, I wish I could cheat on her. Negative comments throughout the entire thing. I ended up going back to the hotel. I'm finishing up getting ready, and he was getting himself a suit. And he calls me and he's like, hey, can you roll me some blunts? He calls me. We're literally 20 minutes late to the fake wedding. Everyone was there. The limo that was, you know, at the hotel, it was already there. We were late. And we were on a time crunch. And I told him, I was like, listen, I'm in my wedding dress right now. Like, I just put my makeup on. Like, can it wait? And he was so mad. He was like, whatever. Like, I asked for one fucking thing and you can't even do that. Whatever. And he hung up on me. So we get there, and Jack instantly is just disrespecting my family.
She's limited to making only $3,000 per month, and the rest goes to me. Fair. I'll also receive 100% of her OF revenue moving forward. Even if we divorce, I can still. No talking or dating other guys for 250 years after we divorce. Sounds good, Dad?
I object.
What? That one, you don't want her seeing any other guys.
I object.
Of what?
It's a terrible deal.
Okay, wait, don't let me finish. She will still have to cook, clean, and do my laundry. Do you object to that one?
That's fair.
I definitely feel so bad for the dad. I mean, he's such a gentleman and very good person. I mean, McKinley has very good parents, I can tell. And Jack Doherty's just being such a jerk with them and very disrespectful. And it's true. He is so selfish with people most of the times.
And I texted him, I said, maybe you're just frustrated today, but the way you've been talking to me makes me feel awful. I've been nothing but positive today, but again, it's turned around on me for only reacting to the way you speak to me. He goes, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so tired of this shit. I said, Jack, what did I do though? He said, you're always just in a bad mood and it affects me. I said, no, I'm not. In what ways? He goes, I could ask you to roll a blunt and your whole mood changes for 30 minutes or it has to turn into a fight. That night, when I was back in the hotel room, he changed his entire persona. I don't know what happened and what the flip was and what made him act that way, but he was screaming at me, bloody murder, the most degrading and most disgusting, vile things you could possibly say to someone, especially your girlfriend. I was just taking everything. I wasn't even retaliating or saying anything back. He was just going and calling me all types of names like a whore and saying he should have never given me a chance because I've ruined his life. I apparently ruined the relationship between you and him. I ruined the relationship between him and the other girls. He only cares about me, and him prioritizing me has ruined his life, and I'm useless and I'm lazy. And he should have never given me a chance because I'm so much of a whore.
Big time for Jack Doherty, because now this is the time he is in serious trouble right now.
My stuff now, have fun, I'm going home. He goes, no, why can't you answer my calls? You make me so sad. And I said, you make me so sad. He said, I don't want to make you sad. I want to make you happy. Please don't leave. I'm so sad I lost you and I just lost 10K. Please love me. I said, you're totally fine. Then he said, can you answer, please? I'm not live. I just love you. I'm by myself. I said, Jack, you're drunk on the casino floor. He said, please answer me. I'm by myself. I end up calling him. He's not by himself. He lied to me. And then Bryce, he was with Bryce Hall. Bryce was like, are you still mad at him? So he had literally been talking about how I was upset with him over something he caused, created, and he was making jokes about. He was making jokes about how we got a divorce the day we got married, and people knew we were fighting. McKinley, no, I love you so much. Please stop. I love you more than anything. I'm coming back right now. I'm not having fun. So I ended up staying. He came back And I had never seen this side of Jack before. And this was the night I fell in love with him. Good night. I'm sorry about everything that happened today. I wish I could take back everything that was said. I love you. Please call me tomorrow. I didn't answer that.
Finally, here comes the most inappropriate text threats McKinley has received by Jack Doherty.
He changed my passwords on my OnlyFans account, which, you know, that was like, okay, he's trying to take my account from me. I see what you're doing. This is probably your plan all along, you fake ass bitch. Use me to get where you want, then dip. You're the fakest bitch ever, holy fuck. You fucked up big time. We're done. And then I said, I'll come get my stuff tonight. Fuck that. I'm throwing it all away. Haha, fuck you, bitch.
Whoa, Broccoli Head Kid just called her a B word. Let's report him to the police and send him to jail.
Crazy ass, fake ass bitch. Insane. All this started because I wanted you to wake up earlier. Ungrateful, greedy, lazy ass bitch. And obviously. That's why you didn't want to put any of your money into the house. Because you've been planning this all along. Answer me or I'm gonna destroy your car next, bitch. I hate you so much. You're evil and you're a fucking liar too. Everyone's shocked that you did that. No one's on your side for fucking me over, stupid.
Right after McKinley broke up with Jack, so a new girlfriend named Christy, for those I already know, you see here it's a copycat. Jack Doherty does the same exact thing to Christy, just like way past when he was hanging out with McKinley. They call it McKinley 2.0, which seems the dumbest idea. And he is doing this for money. Yes, that's the reason why he doesn't really care about his people. He just cares about money. Yeah, you know what? I work hard every day, but you know what? This is just an excuse. You're just using people just to have money. That's it. Especially using girls as well for content. Even for those that are under age of 18, that's crazy. That is just so illegal. Jack Doherty's mother, Anna Doherty, also made a text threat against McKinley, telling her, oh, Jack Doherty is a gold digger. Well, you know what? He can shove the gold right up his asshole and shut up and let her go. Jesus Christ, this poor girl has been suffering for the last 2 years, and it's just so sad.
Said, I'm against abortions. How could you kill the baby in your body? You're sick. She said, because you killed the life in your body, I don't respect people like that. I was your age, 24, with no money, and brought my daughter to our life. Jack treats you like gold. How could you call the police and say Jack is violent? How could you? You're an unstable, sick person. Whatever you've done to him, I'll protect him from now on. And trust me, if you get closer to Jack, I'll arrest you.
And that was the end of her story. She was living in hell for 2 years. Man, that is extremely sad. But I'm so glad she got away with it, and she is living in a happy life, and she's just being grateful. I'm going to end this here. This is the whole entire video for today, so I do want to say thank you guys for watching this. I know, kind of trying my best to, speak a little harder. So, yeah, make sure you comment down below, like the video, and please subscribe. And I do want to say, by the end of 2025, this year, we need to reach 1K subscribers. 1,000 by the end of this year. We got to hit it, boys. Thanks for watching.